Hey guys, I have a feeling this is going to be a short set of notes tonight because I saved the easiest conversion to the last. We've already practiced how to get fractions and decimals to go back and forth and how to get fractions and percents back and forth, but now I'm going to give you the easy peasy, so cinchy percents to decimals and decimals to percents. So what we're going to do is look at some numbers. We're going to do changing the way that we know how to change them, and then we're going to see if we can discover what happened. So let's start with 48%. Let me just pause for a moment and say we are having two pages. The second page is where you have glued down the examples we're going to work on in just a bit. Okay, so page 1. So 48%. Now, in our notes that we took last week, we talked about how to change a percent to a fraction by remembering that percent means 100. Remember, if I take those and put them in order, there's 100. Okay, pretty cool. I'm going to erase that. Oops, goes over there. Now, 48 hundredths I can write as a decimal. So what I want to do is to figure out how did I get from 48% to 48 hundredths, and how did I get from 48 hundredths to 48%. Okay. So let's talk about this, the top one. Or actually, we'll go underneath. We'll go underneath. That's what we'll do. We'll go from 48% to 48 hundredths. So our question is, what happened from percent to decimal? Okay, and I can see a couple things. I can see that we don't have a sign anymore, so we percent sign, so we drop that off. So we drop off the percent symbol. Okay. Next thing I notice when I compare 40 to 48 hundredths, what I notice is there's a decimal that gets introduced. So, and the decimal point went left. So left is a less. So that's an operation that gives us something less. And if you think about the middle one, 48 over 100 is 48 divided by 100. So that's what we do, is we divide by 100. Okay. And what we physically do is we move the decimal left 2 places. Why 2? How many zeros are in 100? 2. That's right. So there is not a coincidence, or that's just something strange that happened. That's actually always the reason why. Okay? All right, and then let's see. You can't really say that we've added a decimal point because we didn't add one in there. It's what happens when I move the decimal point from here in the 48% to the left twice. It ends up in front of the 4. Okay, so let's talk about going the other direction. How do I go from 48 hundredths to 48%? Well, this time the decimal point ended up moving right. So that's a multiplying step. So we multiply by 100, which means we move the decimal to the right two places. And again, that 2 is in line with the fact that we had 100 with 2 zeros. Okay, now the other thing I notice is all of a sudden that 48 hundredths has a percent symbol, so we have to add the percent symbol. And that's it. That is pretty much how it works. Okay. So let's look at another example. Let's talk about 152%. So what if we're over 100%? It doesn't change. Some people think, hey, I know what's going to end up happening. I'm going to just move it to the front, right? No, but how many places did we just move it? We moved it 3 places, but percent means to divide by 100. So this is not a correct answer. So what is the correct answer? Well, we're going to move the decimal point left 2 places. So that gives us 1 and 52 hundredths. Now, you don't believe me? Let's do the math. How many times does 100 go into 152? Well, it goes into 152 once, with 52 left over. And then we can put in, try that again. Put in a decimal point, bring it up into the quotient, annex is 0, and 100 goes into 525 times, which is 500. We subtract, we get a difference of 20. Annex another 0, and 100 goes into 200 exactly twice. So there's proof in the pudding. Yep, 152% is the same thing as 1 in 52 hundredths. I can only move the decimal left twice. Okay, so let's kind of write this out again. Let's go from percent to decimal. Percent to decimal. And we are going to divide the percent number by 100. That means we're going to move the decimal left 2 places. Now you might say, hey, didn't we already write this up above? The answer is yeah, we did. But we're just going to go ahead and make it look a little neater. Okay, so from going the 48% to the 48 hundredths, we divide the percent number by 100, which meant we moved the decimal point left 2 places, and then we needed to drop the percent sign. Very simple. And you can do that first step, doesn't matter. These 2 steps are interchangeable. And then let's go over here and let's talk about decimal to percent. And so what's going on here is we're going to, oops, I made a mess. Sorry about that. Multiply the decimal number by 100. Put a dot in there a little bit better. And what actually is happening? Well, we're going to move the decimal. We're going to get more when we multiply. Move the decimal right 2 places. Now the only other thing we need to remember is to add the percent symbol. Okay? All right, let's go do our practice on the other page. You're going to see what I'm talking about, how simple this is. Okay, so we're going to write each percent as a decimal. So we're going to take that percent symbol and we're going to reinterpret it to mean divide by 100. So to divide by 100, I go to the end of my percent number and I go left twice, and the answer is 32 hundredths. Okay, I go to the right of my percent number, and I go to the left twice. Now notice I have a blank spot, so what do? I fill it up with a 0. So I get 6 hundredths. When I read these, if I'm not saying hundredths, when I have whole numbers, then I know I've done something wrong. Now, there is possible to get an answer that doesn't say hundredths is if your percent number was already a decimal, okay? All right, so the next one says, when making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, 96% of people put the peanut butter on first, right? 96% as a decimal. So we take 96%, put in the decimal point, and move the decimal point left 2 places. That's how we change it into a decimal. Oops, that's terrible writing. And we get the answer is 96 hundredths. Okay? All right, next, now we're going to go the other direction. We have decimals, but we want to make them into percents. So what are we going to do? We're going to take that idea, and to get it to be more, we have to be 100 times bigger. So we're going to multiply by 100, which means move the decimal point right twice, and I get 47, and I have to, in order for it to be a percent, I have to put in the percent symbol. Here, we're going to multiply by 100, which moves the decimal point right twice, and then there's a blank spot, so I get 50%. And then we have one more problem here, and it says, in a recent year, the number of homes with digital cameras grew 44 hundredths from the previous year. Write 44 hundredths as a percent. So again, we're going to multiply by 100, so we're going to move the decimal point to the right twice, and that gives us 44%. That's it, my friends. That's as hard as this gets. Have fun with this, and we have one more video for the week, and then we'll get ready for our quiz next week. All right, see you soon. Bye.